What's up YouTube, Barcode here, bringing you another Epic 7 video. This video is going to be strictly just a free-to-play early or mid-game guide on the raid and what you should do if you can't beat any of the bosses. Please like, comment, subscribe if you do like my content so I can bring more content to you. Comment down below what you would like to see in the future. If you have any questions, I will feel free to answer. I'll try to get to as many people as possible in my Discord and also in the chat and YouTube and etc. So let's get started. So the raid, there's a couple benefits of why you still want to do the raid even if you can't beat the bosses. You still can get gear, you can get ancient coins, and it speeds up the chances on getting good gear so you can progress in other places like Wyvern Golem and even trying to knock down some of these bosses. Okay, so let's get started on the main things that you can get from the raid, which are ancient coins, so you can be able to buy the rings, the ring charms anyway, the necklace charms, or just trying to buy accessories with those ancient coins so that you get an extra chance to get better gear so you can progress. Okay, and the other one is obviously possible gear drops that drop from the elite bosses in here. The trash mobs don't drop any good gear that is respectable, so once you get to the elite locations, which I will show up here, the best places to go are to those elite locations so you can kill those mobs. Okay, and this is kind of what I do. I can beat the majority of the bosses, but I just want to show you people that can't, because a lot of my guildies can't and a lot of my friends that play the game still can't because they're free to play and have that issue. So this week, when the raid resets, you can actually hit all four corners like this. If you maximize your camping, maximize the way you walk your routes, you can get the most benefit from getting as much gear and ancient coins as possible. Okay, so the best way to go about this is you can do this once a week, but you can buy the compass in the normal shop, and you can also buy the extra compass in the guild shop, and you can tackle all four corners. Plus, if you buy those 2 extra compasses, you can get one more crack before reset at one of the bosses, and possibly even 2 if you route it right. And that gives you a week to pretty much see, up your gear up, hopefully get some good drops, and then also just get another chance at getting better gear, the moonlight, whatever the case may be. Okay, so I will go into why, but first I do want to talk about real quick. In a previous video, I know a couple of you that I talked to may already know, there was a debate about whether you can keep the gear if you don't kill any bosses. You can, and I proved that twice. But I still get flack from time to time, which is kind of ridiculous, but I'll just show that up there and then it's gone. Okay, I already had a video to prove it wrong. We're there. Okay, so you can get the gear drops, you can do everything by just not killing bosses and clearing trash. The way you have to do that is once you clear all the trash, you can't go up to the pause button and hit yield. You have to literally teleport to the exit and then exit out of the portal, and you'll be able to keep all your gear that you need to. Okay, so let's go into the next subject, which is camping. So I'm going to show a couple videos here while we were going through all of this, and what I wanted to show was the best way to maximize how much more morale you have, because you don't want to fall below -30, obviously, right? So once you hit about, what I like to do is I hit about like in the 20s, and then I will go ahead and camp when I can. And the real deal is here. Okay, so before you enter, and if you're messing around with different team comps and experimenting with different team comps, you want to be able to get the most morale possible when you camp. So you can actually check that before you go into a lab. What you do is just enter the portal, okay? Enter the lab, the raid, right? You go straight to camp, and you just experiment for at least 4 tries. Just click on both comments of every character that you're bringing in the team comp and see what the highest, if the best combination of, the best combination of the morale points that you get. Everybody has a different relationship with each other, so the best way to do that is by experimenting prior. Once you find out one of those 2 comments, which is the best out of all 8, then you'll be able to use that going forward in this team comp. Just make sure when you're experimenting and finding out what the best morale comment to use is, then you want to hit the pause button and hit yield to go out. Don't click the exit portal, because you're just gonna waste the labyrinth tokens, okay? And that's not fun. You won't want to do that. You'll be like, Barcode, you a-hole, why'd you do that, right? You made me think that. But you have to hit the yield button when you're experimenting like that, okay? So let's talk about team comps. Let's go into team comps. So what's the best things to bring, right? So the main things really is you do need a defense break, okay? He needs some type of sustain. Like I'm using right now, I just pulled haste, and I'm leveling him up while I do this. But I use haste and rec room roar together, and it's such a sick combo. I mean, once the enemies die, I get healed up, and then haste will put a vampiric debuff on the boss or the enemy, and I can heal from that. So it's an awesome combo. I don't need to bring a healer per se, because they're kind of sub healers, and then I have Deanne for the shield and the attack buff and the crit resist. So it's a great combo that I have, and I got lucky enough to pull those 3 characters for me to do that, okay? But yeah, defense break, sustain, you need some damage, obviously. Support, so combat readiness increase, the attack buff, shield if possible, defense buff if possible, anything that you can bring, just to support your team. And then one of the main important aspects for free to play early mid game is bringing Archie, or Arceus, or however you want to say his name, whatever. But Archie is like your best friend for free to play early game, okay? Even late game, people use him all the time on hell modes and everything like that. You can even bring like a full sustain team and just Archie everything down, which is kind of crazy to me. But is he OP? Maybe, I don't know. Let's keep him how he is. Smilegate, okay? Thank you. But he's definitely your best friend, and the reason being is because he does damage according to the enemy's max HP and the total amount of attack on your team. So awesome guardian to use in certain situations. On certain bosses, you might want to bring certain a different guardian, like the I forget his name, the combat the cooldown reset guardian, whatever his name is. But I literally use Archie like all the time. I hardly ever use anything else. When I get the hell mode, I might have to use something different, but right now I'm just using Archie nonstop. So while I go through this current run, I just want to talk about the raid trash. So the raid trash is pretty easy. You won't really have any issues with that, and that's just the normal while you're walking towards the elite locations or one of the bosses in the raids in the corners. But the raid trash is pretty easy. You don't really have any issues with that. The elite trash locations can sometimes give early and mid game players problems, and that is mainly due to the gear, okay? And maybe skill ups too, if some of your debuffs aren't landing because of the actual skill needing skill ups to increase the percentage for it to land. But mainly it's a gear problem, and 9 times out of 10 it's probably speed. Speed, if you're slow and the enemy is taking more turns than you, then you're gonna have some problems, right? It also could be, you know, your support's dying because, you know, you don't have your ring or necklace leveled up with HP and defense, or even your boots, or whatever the case may be. It's 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a gear problem. Okay, so while you're leveling fodder in other places, while you're doing this, you always want to make sure you can set a good team comp for all your content, really. And just level that gear up, right? There's a lot of people like, why can't I do this? It's like, well, you know, send me a screenshot of your characters and their ring and necklace are at like +3 or even +0. It's like, well, come on, what do you think, right? So definitely something to look for. Now with this raid, there's light enemies, there's light monsters, there's fire monsters, and there's nature monsters. So making a team comp, you definitely, besides your support can be water if you need to, but try to go for light and dark champion characters, or fire characters. You could bring you know, a water nuker. I wouldn't go towards the nature side of things, but you know, the main bosses are fire. There is some trash that's nature, and there might be an elite location that has some nature trash, like here. So I would recommend trying to go for more of a fire based team when you're building a raid team. Okay, so optimally, getting the bosses down is your main goal over time, but if you can't, just follow this guide and it'll lead you to getting to that point. We all have to start somewhere, right? You know, it's easy to look at others, right, and say, okay, why are they able to do it and I'm not? I'm free to play too, you know, right? So it's just, you have to be patient in these types of games, right? It's important because we see others succeed and we're not. Well, it's a pay to win game pretty much. I mean, there's pay to win character aspect, but then you have to grind up gear, right? So let me show you why Arky is so powerful, especially when you are manually. I've been autoing it the whole time. So as you can see, you know, the main elite trash, the main elite boss or whatever is going to have a ton of HP. So when you do Arky, and you really only want to use Arky when you're doing the raid and when you get to this elite locations, because they're gonna give you the most problem majority of the time. So you want to save it all for some of these locations like there. And then as you can see, the boss took 9,300 and the minions took 5,300, right? Because obviously the boss has more damage. However, 2 Arkies and all of the trash is dead. Okay, so if that was always an issue, and usually it is because the trash is still up and you can't kill them, Arky is just amazing for you, right? So okay, so I wasn't paying attention and I kind of went a little bit lower than I wanted to for the morale, because I always say like around 20s I like to start the camp then. However, it's because I like to try to stay above that 10% extra health threshold, right? So luckily you can go to at least -30 before you exit out, because once you go under -30 you just need to teleport to the main entrance and exit out, okay? Because you'll die no matter what, right? Okay, so I like to camp to try to stay above 30, but however, I'm not going to be able to do that. But once you do camp and find your best combo like I was talking about, you will be able to get some great morale, okay? So I'm back up to 14, so now I have the +5% health, and we will go ahead and go into the final wave of the trash that I want to get to. So I will leave you there, and I'll just kind of fast forward through the rest of this so you can see what's going on, and then I hope you guys enjoyed the guide and that it's helpful, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace, my friends.